That should work. So tell everyone I said hi. I'm Robert with Bit by Bit, and I'm busy saving the world.
So you're leaving right now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll do your bit for you.
Cool. Thanks. Bye.
Hello, Dawood.
Hello, Sam. How you doing, sir?
I am well. You got your banner up and running. Good for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have both my banners on each wall.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel sorry for you LA people, like the Boston people. You have to go a year or so without a championship.
Look.
They say there's a whole generation of kids up in Boston that hadn't gone for more than like 3 years without a championship.
Well, if it's any solace, my Raiders. I think what was it? I think I was in elementary school. I'm trying to think when the last time they won a Super Bowl. Man, it's bad for my Raiders. I feel like there's a friend of mine who's a Cowboy fan, and he's in his 20s, and so he wasn't even. I think he wasn't even born yet when the Cowboys last went to the Super Bowl.
Somehow I'm on here twice. Here, Dawood, I'm going to pull something off the wall so you can appreciate some of my sports memorabilia. I don't know if you can read it very well, but it's from the Rose Bowl when Vince Young in Texas won the national championship.
You had to go there, huh? Okay. So
yeah,
there's a story behind that game. Well, there's two things. One, my nephew was a freshman defensive end for USC that year. And so that was right. I was in the process of transitioning to moving here to Dallas. And so that I said, oh my gosh. But I think, they won that game because they keep me humble. We're moving here because I would have had chest popping out in terms of, if SC had, closed the deal on that game. But yeah. There was just so many things from Bush tossing that lateral that he didn't need to.
Right.
And then I think even with the when they went on that fourth down, I just think the play design, the formation, it was just horrible because they were all bunched up. I think it was Huff who just shot through and was able to get Lindell.
Yeah, it was Michael Huff. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was funny because Lindell was just eating them up. Except for that one. So it was like, well, except for when it counted. And so
I got it.
But that was I think that's still, I guess you would still say that's probably the greatest college football game ever played. I'd have to say, just from the back and forth and, everything with that game.
Yeah, it was a great game. Did I make you wait long? Dwayne, did I make you wait long? Okay. Because me and Dawood were just chewing the fat here, talking college football.
Literally within seconds.
Okay. Robert's not here today, and I think he signed me on twice. And I'm afraid to sign out because I might not be able to let myself back in.
That could be an issue.
Yeah, that would be fun to take the whole thing down because I'm on here twice.
As long as your internet still works good.
Yeah, Spectrum finally came out and they replaced a piece of hardline cable, the aluminum cable out here. Okay. And they told my wife to stop feeding the squirrels. The squirrels really love to eat the aluminum cable. It keeps their teeth sharp,
I had no clue.
Well, before before Schoolie Mitchell, I was selling cable TV parts to Time Warner Cable back when they were up and running, and before Charter bought them out. And one year, I sold them $750,000 worth of Squirrel Guard. If you can believe that, Squirrel Guard. And then my idea at the sales meeting was to get more trucks full of squirrels and drive them to Time Warner Systems. Yeah,
Uh,
$750,000 worth of Squirrel Guard.
I don't know how you could do that. Squirrels will find a way.
Yeah.
They're very squirrely.
We teed that one up for you, didn't we?
But
Set her up for that one.
ho ho ho.
That was really an acorny joke.
Oh, no,
Oh, we're going for new lows here. Very good.
I love it.
So Dwayne, you're rocking the all caps today.
Yeah, that pops up that way. I don't know why. I didn't, sometimes it's all caps and sometimes it's just regular. I can change it.
No, don't bother.
Screaming his
I'm-
name.
If you got anything bad to say about Robert, you can say it because he's not going to be on this week.
Well, I've got to put in my business name anyway, so Henry's got me trained to do that on all these Zoom calls.
Well, most people's business names are too long. It gets cut off.
Yeah.
Well, like, how's it look right now on mine?
Yours looks, you got cut off at the second R in photography. Well, the first R in photography.
Well, see,
So
on
you
my
got most of it
screen-
in there.
On my screen, it shows the whole thing.
Yeah, but you're the one that doesn't need to know.
Good point. Good point.
Oh, Ken's joining us today.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Angie. I bet it's Angie.
As we wait with bated breath
Yeah, they're not
until
going to
video walks in.
reveal.
Wayne, do I sound like Angie?
Uh,
What?
There he
no.
is.
Hello, everybody.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Where's Mayor Williams? Run over your shoulder. You moved him.
Mayor left the office today. Left 2 holes in the wall up there. Are you looking for him, Sam? I saw you looking behind yourself there.
Yeah.
How's everybody?
Fine and dandy.
Hey, did you guys print up a lot of election signs for yards this time? Ken?
Quite a few. We did more mailers and postcards, drop cards, post-its, that kind of thing. Yard signs we did some, but we can only do those in full color, where really silk screening is a lot cheaper to do that.
Okay.
Did you get a bunch?
One day I was over there and I saw that Frazier had his roofing signs over there.
Yeah. Actually, we did Fraser's. Yeah, we do some of them. What's really been good though is these runoffs. There's still runoffs going on,
Yeah, I thought it'd be good for your business.
and it really has been exceptional. Yeah, it helped a lot. First 6 months, it was just nothing. People aren't going to meetings. They're not putting on meetings. Their supply chain's terrible in the aviation industry. So it's
Could
been an
do
interesting
some-
year, to say the least.
Save the Steel or You're Fired. You could do a bunch of those,
Yeah.
whichever way you go.
I was going to do bumper stickers that said, "I didn't budget for Uber Eats."
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who our speaker is today. I hadn't heard from David.
Which David?
David with
Curtis.
Fox HR.
The
our
important
vice
one.
chair.
Oh, good. Now it's time for Christmas cards, y'all. We'll print your Christmas card for you. It's almost too late, actually, but we can still get them out in a few days.
Where is everybody?
I don't know. It just said 4 people were waiting to get in. Admit, 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 and admit.
You know, I had another networking group this morning that we were like on it too. So I don't know if it's post Thanksgiving syndrome or what.
Yeah,
How
Becky
is
sent
that
out the
group, Wayne?
Becky sent out the reminder 7 minutes ago.
Yeah, I saw that. What'd you say, David?
How is that group? I know Matt Hines invited me to come, and then he never told me anything again.
Would you like to be my guest next Thursday morning?
What was he there?
Yeah.
Is that at the barbecue place?
Yeah, it's at Rudy's.
Yeah, so on the silver,
Yeah, do y'all eat?
35-year-old is 336, and then the child is 210. So it's around 550 total.
Hey,
for
I recognize on the phone.
It's 250.
and
It's 250, guys.
Neelam. And what is her age?
We gotta
Yep,
mute
that's
him.
right. She's actually 32. He finally muted.
I muted him.
Ah. Hey, Brian, how you doing?
How is he
Good,
feeling?
I'm good. I'm here.
How you feeling?
Oh, I am better. I survived the vid.
Well, that's
You,
good.
you got the vid?
I got the vid and I survived it.
Good job.
Well, you're one of the younger poops, so you can handle it.
I don't know. I lost 7 pounds though. I guess it was a good diet.
That's a tough way to lose weight.
That's a tough diet, yeah.
Yeah, everything tastes like plastic.
Well, David, do we know who our speaker is today?
No speaker today. I reached out to a couple people, but didn't hear back from them. I was thinking, what if we had a little round table on what people's goals are for next year for their business and how we can help them be accountable?
So,
Well, that sounds like a very good plan.
so Sam, if you don't mind, I have Wendy here. She's gonna speak on behalf of our business, but I was told to make sure I jump on to discuss what my dad is doing for the nonprofit to help Honduras.
Yeah, why don't you start the meeting out with that, okay, Brian?
Sounds good. My dad is raising funds for what the catastrophic event that happened in Honduras. So just so you guys know, there was a hurricane. There's 2 hurricanes that passed through Honduras. But the problem in Honduras is that the way they manage their energy is through the river, right? And everything is pretty much powered by the water. Well, Honduras is completely flooded right now. Okay. And so there's a lot of people that are not living in their homes. They're living in a shelter, and they're going to live in the shelter, I think, for maybe 3 or 4 more months. So they are not in their homes right now. They're at shelter. And so right now, they're raising funds to support that shelter because each dollar that is donated to that shelter feeds a person. Okay, it gives them their utilities and their food for at least one day. And so, basically, we're just raising enough money. Every dollar counts because that provides at least one person a meal.
Well, Brian, while you weren't on with us previously, we had decided to have a quarterly charitable offering, and it was decided that your dad's charity would be for Q for this quarter. Okay, so in previous times, we'd done the stuff for Spear Elementary, and we've also got other ones on the docket. But for the first quarter, we're going to be working on your charity with your dad.
Awesome.
So if you want to get with Becky and get her to incorporate some kind of a donation plan regarding how they should get the funds to your team, I think that'd be the best way to communicate with the team. Okay.
Okay, awesome. Well, Becky, I will be reaching. I see if Becky just jumped on. Hey, Becky,
Hey there.
how are you?
I'm kind of frazzled, but I'm here. And can you catch me up on what we're just talking about?
So I was just telling the group about what my dad's doing to support the event that happened in Honduras. Tell a little bit about
Mm-hmm.
more about what that donation goes towards. It goes actually towards the shelter that's in Honduras, that's housing, I think,
Uh-huh.
thousands of people. And so they're all bunched up into the shelter, and they're going to be living there for about 3 or 4 months because they can't go home right now,
Wow.
because of the floods. And so each donation that we do, each dollar provides a meal for each person. So
Wonderful.
by us donating, we'll help them, feed them, give them utilities like masks, which is a big deal right now because of COVID. Toilet paper, all of that stuff that goes to these those that are in the shelter right now, that are living in the shelter until they can actually go home.
Wow. Wow. That's terrific.
And
Who do you
Becky,
make
I'd
checks
ask them to
out to?
communicate with you because you can incorporate that donation information into the regular weekly emails. Just so
Yes.
everybody would know that it's official communication coming from the group.
Okay. And so can you send me that, Brian?
Yeah. So what I
Yep.
think the best thing to do, Becky, is I want to put you in contact with my dad so that you guys
Okay.
can communicate on how to get the funds to him and how he would disperse it.
Okay. That sounds really good. And I made a contribution to Mercy Church. Is that
Merciful Church.
Merciful Church, and wanted to say that they had a fabulous website. And it
I'm
was,
sure they
it
paid
was,
top dollar for it.
I'm sure they did, and it was well worth it. But it was great because, going there, I'll put the link on, because going there and seeing the pictures, that expression, a picture's worth 1,000 words, really is true. That really helps you understand it. So I'm happy to do that. That would be great.
Awesome.
Okay, well, as David Curtis said, we do not have a speaker today, so we've got a little bit of extra time. Yes, Dawood?
I can volunteer to speak. And matter of fact, because I know David brought up something in terms of goals, because I have a teaching just on, this in terms of, it's called a year-end reflection. If you guys are open to that, I'll be willing to do that for you guys.
Yeah, why don't we do this, Dawood? Why don't we extend our commercials from 30 seconds to, say, a minute to 2 minutes, where we can incorporate something about our goals for the next year. And then in the other time we have left, we can let you speak extemporaneously. How about that?
All right, cool.
Hey, can I have a question for Brian real quick? I'm sorry, before we get off that subject. Would a case of masks be helpful, or would it be more expensive to send them down there?
It's more expensive. So we've actually, when we were putting this event together, my dad was thinking about getting food. It's going to be a lot more expensive to send it over there than this, just to give it to the shelter.
Okay.
And then they purchase it on their end.
Got it. Because I've got some extra masks I could give them, but sometimes it's more expensive to get them.
Yeah, the shipping.
To.
Well, especially right now because of COVID, the shipping is all through the roof.
Supply chain's been terrible.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to go according to my screen, and so can we have Dawood, Dwayne, and Ken be our first 3 speakers? And remember, you're giving your regular commercial and some thoughts about next year. That'll be the format, and we're extending to 2 minutes.
And before everybody leaves, I love everyone. I miss you guys. I'm gonna head out. Wendy is my social media manager, so she'll be representing us. And so thank you guys for your support. Becky, I'll reach out to you. You guys have fun. And then I've got multiple meetings I gotta get to, so I have to head out, guys. But thank you guys. Miss you guys, and I hope to see you guys in person soon.
Great. And before we get started, I just want to make sure that Is Robert recording?
Robert is gone, but we are recording.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
Brian.
Brian.
All right, let's have
Bye-bye.
Dawood, Dwayne, and Ken, our power pack of manly men, start us out.
All righty. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dawu Maybon with Maybon Leadership Group, where we help unlock your leadership potential. I have a free webinar that's coming up next Thursday at 7 p.m. I'll put the information in the chat. In terms of goals, I'll defer that time for later, for when I share with you guys kind of my year-end reflection and that process that I go through each year to set up my goals for the coming year. Once again, Dawu Maybon with Maybon Leadership Group.
Good morning, all. I'm Dwayne Lee, Southern Flare Photography, Arlington's only professional photography studio. Kind of interesting to say that. When I first went into business, there were about 30. There's only me and Heather. Anyway, Heather's behind me. Wave, Heather. She's busy doing Santa orders, and so she'll be in to speak here in a few minutes, maybe, if Santa will let her on and our customer doesn't come in. Anyway, we haven't had time to even think about plans for next year or goals. I know we all should have them, but we haven't really set any just yet. But anybody that needs family portraits over the holidays, we're definitely in for that. We'll come to your home. We'll come to a park, wherever you'd like, or you can come to the studio, even on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day if it's a big enough family. Dwayne Lee, Southern Flare Photography.
Good morning. I'm Ken with Digital Corporate Companies. We are a graphics provider. We print on almost anything. It seems like we get asked to do a lot of different things. We are finishing up Christmas cards right now. If you want custom Christmas cards with printed envelopes, let us know pretty quickly. Normally around Thanksgiving is the time that you want to get those out. We've got a special deal for chamber members, an extra 10% off. We haven't changed our prices on Christmas cards in probably the last 4 or 5 years. So it's a little bit more personal when you do it. We can actually put your picture on there if you want, or group pictures or something just to say hello. You know, these meetings are kind of nice because in person, everybody's got this mask on and you don't know what the heck's going on, you know? So it's nice to see faces. It's nice to see smiles. Our goal next year is probably like everybody else, is let's get this vaccine in here and get people back out. We're putting an enterprise system in, an operating system that actually, for our websites, customers will be able to log right in from wherever you're at. It's going to allow us to control a lot more things. And hopefully, you know, supply chain gets a whole lot better and hospitals can start letting people go. I mean, the way they're filling up, it's terrible. But our goal is basically to help as many businesses promote themselves next year.
Okay, thanks, Kent. How about let's circle back and have Heather do her thing. Dwayne, you want to ask Heather to take her turn?
Yeah, she just got called into a sales meeting. So,
okay, all right. David Curtis, Joni Wilson, and Jennifer Payne, please.
Howdy, everybody. David Curtis with Hops HR, your local HR guy. I'm here to help you with all your HR compliance, process, policies, payroll, training, compliance, all that fun stuff that you got to deal with whenever you have employees. You know, in the next year, one of my goals is to add, 1 to 3 clients with my fractional HR support. So small, medium-sized businesses that, are starting to need a more regular presence of HR, but not a full-time person. So, my fractional support is, you can hire me to come in 1 day a month, 4 days a month, up to 8 days a month, 1 to 2 days a week, and manage everything in your HR department from your recruiting, hiring, employee relations, benefits administration, payroll, all that sort of stuff. So you can continue to focus on your business and grow it, that you're, looking to do. So that's my goal for this next year. I've added quite a few clients over the last few months, which is awesome. So just looking at continuing to grow my business next year. So thanks.
Joni Wilson at Affiliated Bank, head up the Arlington branch here for Affiliated, doing commercial real estate loans, SBA loans, commercial lines of credits, equipment notes. Loan demand has been slightly a little slower just due to COVID, but it's still pretty constant. So I'm pleased with that. Main goal for next year is building more deposit account relationships. Helping people. We have excellent service here and helping the people with their daily transactions because that keeps y'all busy. During COVID, we updated all of our online systems. So we've got the top of the line, software where you can download your Quicken books, upload, whatever works for our treasury management department. If you're not, as COVID has taught all of us, if you're not online banking, you need to be. And it's amazing how that's been a learning lesson for some this year and been just regular ongoing banking for others. So think more about that. Set up an appointment with me. Let's visit about doing, handling your deposits here. I would love to visit with you on it. So Joni Wilson, Affiliated Bank.
Hey everybody, it's Jennifer with Price Right Trees. I hope everyone had a good holiday.
I want to, read a statement from John Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. There's a law called the Law of Design, and it says to maximize growth, develop strategy. And so there's a quote that says, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan, and guess what they have planned for you? Not much. And so John, in this law, he talks about how on Christmas Day, normally Christmas Day in the afternoon, after his grandkids have finished opening up their presents, waiting for him, after all the hoopla has died down, waiting for him at his desk is his calendar, his appointment calendar from the preceding year and a yellow pad. And what he's doing is, from that calendar, he's going back and he's looking at everything that he's done throughout the year. He's looking at his speaking engagements and he's asking himself, okay, what should he consider doing more of? What should he do less of? And what should he eliminate altogether? And so those are some things, we can ask ourselves in terms of, what is it that we need to do more of? What is it that you need to do more of in your business? What is it that you need to do less of in your business? And then what is it that you need to eliminate altogether in your business, as you're reflecting on this past year? Here's a statement from John. He says, I try to account for every waking hour I had in the previous year. And what's the value of that? It helps me to develop strategies for the coming year. And he says, because I do this every year and have for decades, I become more focused, strategic, and effective every year. Because like I said, we're all in business. And so it's like I said, it's great to have the goals, but if we're not strategic with our goals, if we're not focused with our goals, then we're not going to be as effective as we want to be. And our purpose is we all want to be effective in our business. So I want to go through some year-end reflection questions. Just to give you guys and write these down. And if I have a chance, what I'll do is I'll see if I can copy and paste it in the chat later so that you guys can have it, so that Becky can email it out to you guys later, because these are some great questions that you guys can take in your business for a year in, or even taking it, for example, like breaking it up and saying, okay, you can do a quarterly review of your business based off these questions. So the first question is, what lessons did I learn this year? As I opened up, you have to ask the question, okay, what did you learn this year? Because if you're not learning from the lessons that you learned this year, you're going to repeat those. You're going to have to repeat them, and it's going to slow down your growth. So that's why you want to ask yourself, okay, what lessons did I learn this year? Then after you ask what lessons did I learn this year, the next question you want to ask is what went right this year? You know, ask yourself, okay, what went right in your business this year? And the one thing I love about these questions is you can take it for your business. You can even take it in your personal life. You know, whatever area of your life, you can ask yourself, okay, what went right this year? Because you want to be able to celebrate the wins that you've had this year. Now, the next question, this one's kind of a hard one for us because this is, you know, when we ask ourselves, what went wrong this year? And a lot of times for us, that's difficult because a lot of people don't embrace when things go wrong. That's, you know, when things go wrong, sometimes our failures is when we get the best lessons out of life. And so, you know, you can ask yourself, okay, what went wrong in your business year? I'm sure something went wrong for everybody. Probably almost something went wrong for everybody in their business this year because of COVID. You know, Sam gave the example of his business is a belly to belly. So, okay, so what went wrong? And that, I'm sure, you know, it'll lead to the next question of what can I do differently? Because, you know, like I said, all of us went through COVID and it affected our business in some form. Now I know people whose business has gone through the roof because of COVID, because they were able to adjust. They were able to make the necessary shifts in their business, even with COVID going on. And so that's why we have to ask that question of what can I do differently? So, you know, as we're going, you know, the first thing is what lessons did I learn this year? What went right this year? What went wrong this year? What can I do differently? And the last question you want to ask is, what am I grateful for? You know, a lot of times we're so consumed with business, with generating revenue, with satisfying our clients or getting the next client. You know, we don't take the time to pause and ask ourselves, you know, what are we grateful for? Because yes, you know, we're in business to make money, but for some people, it's not just about making money. Maybe it's, you know, you're in business for yourself so that you can have the freedom and flexibility to have more time with your family. You know, so, you know, taking that time to ask, what am I grateful for? And so that's the last question you want to ask yourself. And then one of the other things that I found in terms of a reflection process, something that's really cool, you know, all of us, we have our smartphones. And this is a trick I learned maybe a couple of years ago, is that, you know, for those of us who take photos with our phone. I know, Dwayne, I know this is not a professional camera. So Dwayne, I know that. With that being said, it's not a professional camera. But you can go through your camera roll throughout the year, and it will help jog your memory of different things that happen throughout the year. And you can use that also in your reflection process, because you'll be amazed if you just take out your phone and go through your camera roll. You can be like, oh, wow, I did that this year. And it's going to seem like, okay, that was ages ago, but it's going to help jog your memory of different things that happen throughout the year. So even though, while this is not a professional camera, it is great to help you jog your memory in terms of the reflection process. And then also another thing, like I said, you know, I opened up and I talked about how John, he has his appointment calendar, you know, making sure one of the reasons why you want to book all your appointments, using some type of appointment calendar, if it's either, you know, a physical calendar in terms of a monthly planner, or those of us who like digital calendars, you know, the purpose of that also is so that you can see and track, okay, you know, what appointments you had throughout the year, and that can help you see how productive you were throughout the year. And so that's pretty much what I wanted to just share with you guys, because, you know, when David brought up about goals, it just hit me. I was like, oh, this would be something great just to add value to you guys. And like I said, this is something you can do every year, but then also, like I said, you can break this up into quarters. So, you can break up after you hit the first quarter of 2021. What lessons have you learned in the first quarter? What's gone right in the first quarter? What went wrong? Because, when you're doing this process of reflecting, of being consistent with having a reflection process, you're allowing yourself to be able to, pause and see how you're truly progressing and growing, not only in your business, but also in other areas of your life. So that's what I want to share with you guys, and feel free to, any questions that you guys have.
I forgive you, Dawad.
Hey, Dawu, quick question for you. First of all, awesome presentation. But, why is it so important for people to truly be able to self-reflect and to have this as part of their strategic planning going forward? Because you and I have talked about this before. We're both huge believers in this. But why is it so important for everyone else to do that versus just focusing on the daily minutia?
Because what happens is, you're always having to measure and see, okay, well, how productive are you really going? And if you're just always just going forward and you're not, it just as that first thing. And when I talk about, what lessons have you learned, then what happens is you keep yourself in a cycle of having to repeat things. And even there may be some things that are out of date in the method of your doing your business. And Brody, you bring up a great point in terms of how you talk about how your business has gone through the roof, even in COVID. And so the one thing, even as frustrating as COVID is, I believe COVID is a blessing because it's teaching us to not just stick with the status quo in terms of, okay, we just have this one method of doing our business or doing things, and not always. Even I think I may have did a talk before where I talked about how John he did a book called Leadership. And so, we're always having to shift. And I think the blessing in COVID is that it's taught all of us, we have to shift. We can't just rely upon, what worked in the past or even what's normal. Everybody keeps talking about, well, I want to get back to normal. Normal is not coming back. And so, even I think, Brody, you hit on it and touched it in terms of like, hey, it's probably going to be a hybrid, because I mean, think about it. A lot of people just, using church, for example, when you have people have spent virtually a year, going to church virtually, that's changed kind of how they're going to do things, even when they come back in person, because a lot of people are going to ask, okay, well, they're gonna ask their best use of their time. And so I think, like when you were talking about with the virtual event, people are gonna look at, okay, do I really need to travel to this event, or can I just watch it online and get the same information instead of putting all that extra energy into having to physically travel to an event?
Well, Dawood, I think Kelly Souter said something about that. She is looking forward to meetings, but she's not looking forward to the drives to the meetings, because she lives about an hour away from Arlington there. So yeah, you're right. And Paul and us have had lots of conversations about how to create the hybrid meeting, and there's a lot of energy at the chamber being expended to get that taken care of. And the spike in new cases isn't helping us to create any more hybrids, but there's a lot of energy and planning going forward that way. So that's some good news there.
Right. Exactly.
But I am looking forward to seeing people in person, though.
Oh yeah. And my personality, the way I'm wired, because you hear me talk about DISC assessments, my wiring is, I love being in front of people. I love giving people a handshake, a hug. And so all of this sucks in terms of, that's the best way I can say it. So this sucks for me, but I understand, hey, this is the reality that we're in, and I'm going to have to make it work the best way it can. And so, like I said, it's either probably going to be a hybrid, but knowing how to make the necessary shift, even though as a person, that's how I operate. I love, shaking people's hand. I love giving people a hug. That's just the way I am. And so, and I understand a lot of people who are wired that way, that's what's making them very frustrated with what's going on with COVID.
Well, thanks again, Dawood. I'd like to make one other comment before Becky gets in here, is that I've heard from a reliable source inside River Legacy that says the exhibit is quite marvelous. And there's some very, very interesting and strange creatures crawling around in there. Yes, Becky, you raised your hand.
And all the creatures are there and alive. So it's the largest collection, but they're all in their own individual habitats and don't get out. So there's no worries about that. But I raised my hand because if there's anybody who I've missed their announcements, please let me know by email when I send out the email, and I'll send out a second one to everybody. I really don't want to lose my job at this point. But I had a question for you, Dawood, which is, so I know you do DISC assessment and some things like that. And in planning these goals, I haven't lost my job, but I'm asking for a friend. My son has changed careers because of COVID. And do you do any of those assessments to help people not just make their goals, but to kind of think of new things to do? He was in the cruise industry, so he sold art on cruise ships, and that's not looking so good. So do you do anything like that?
Well, I do, in terms of one-on-one coaching. So if he wanted to, talk, and we can see, in terms of if it would be a good matchup in terms of what I do in terms of coaching, people in that area, definitely.
Awesome.
Yep. And so, and then also with that is like, we can do like a strategy session, a 30-minute strategy session, and he can see, if it will work, if that will work, because like I said, he's going to a new area, but definitely would love to connect with him.
Great.
Yeah, Becky, how is Neil doing health-wise?
He's fine now. He's fine, thank goodness. And he had COVID also, and has recovered from that. So, and I wanted to say thank you to David too, because Neil and one other person came down with COVID at the same time, my son and one other of my employees, not River Legacy, but my businesses. It ended up 17 people had COVID at our business. 5 of them had no symptoms. And so we feel like they were probably spreaders, and they didn't get tested until we had some people with symptoms get tested and be positive. But David's son went in with Colors Professional Floor and did a great job, very economical, cleaned everything. And we're a print shop, and so we couldn't have, overspray onto our aluminum, which is what we do most of our printing on. So they just did a great job deep cleaning for us, and it made all my employees much happier about going to work. And so thank you for that. It was a great recommendation for Colors Professional Floor Care. I could recommend them highly to anybody, and will go on Google and do so myself. So thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, thanks to everybody for coming in today. I'd normally like to hang around for a post-game show, but I have a 2:00 meeting in Dallas, so I'm going to be a party pooper. So goodbye to all.
One last thing I just want to say, I sent you guys those questions in the chat. Like I said, do it for yourself individually, but even with your team, you'll be amazed, what you can get from your teams by just taking these questions and going with your team. There's going to be a lot of goals that you'll get just by doing these questions. So I encourage you, do it with yourself, but do it with your teams also.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I look forward to seeing you again next week.